presentation. Oh, there you go.
Hey,
I got it.
took me a minute, but we
All
figured it out.
right. All right. Well, thanks again, Scotty, for that great intro. And yeah, I just wanted to take this morning to talk a little bit of my journey through real estate. So, Mikey, you could go to the next slide. So I'll just start with a brief intro and then talk about some of the benefits I've found in my career of giving back to the community, and then a little breakdown of how I think you can apply it to your business, and then we'll have questions. Throughout this, you can always stop me at any time if you have any questions or comments. This one's meant to be interactive. I by no means am the person that knows everything about this subject, but I feel like I've learned a lot along my way in the past, 12, 14 years. So just wanted to be able to share that with everyone. So a bit of background about my journey through real estate and community involvement. So just to give some people some background as to why I'm the one that's talking about this. So I am currently the president of Kitchener-Waterloo Oktoberfest. I've been volunteering with the festival for about 17, 18 years now. And so just throughout those years, I was on a number of different committees, kind of came up through the marketing committee, meeting a lot of different people along the way, and eventually moved up to the board and then to become the president of Oktoberfest. I also sit on several committees for the Waterloo Regional Community Foundation. So they are a granting organization in the region. So I get to hear about a lot of the great things that organizations in this region are doing as they apply for grants to solve some of the issues within our region. I also played lots of different sports, rugby, basketball, and that's all part of kind of that community involvement as well, because the sports community is rather large in this region. And then more recently, I've started to try and do more charity-based events that help our region. So last year, I did Dancing with the Stars. Happened to be so fortunate to have a great partner and win that. But that was raising money for Easter Seals. And this year I am doing Mandy Bujo's Champions for Charity. It's a boxing event that's taking place in April. So I'll be doing some training for the next little while to do some boxing to raise money for McMaster Children's Hospital. And really, through all of this, it really fed into how I do my business as a real estate agent. As a realtor, I've been really focused on just building a network and using my SOI, my sphere of influence, to get referrals. That's always been my business model. I've never been one to really have a lot of money poured into marketing with anything like that. Only this year did I really start using social media to my benefit to highlight my real estate and highlight what I'm doing in the community. So I have some growth to do in that area. But in preparing for this presentation, what I decided to do is go back and take a look at where my clients were coming from within my sphere of influence. And that's when I realized, wow, it's a lot.
Oh,
40% of my clients have come from my community involvement. So have come from areas where I've been involved either as a volunteer, as a player, as a sponsor of an event. And so that to me just shows the power of what you can achieve when you give back to your community. Now, there's some other benefits as well, and so we're going to get into that. Micah, you can go to the next slide, but I just wanted to provide a bit of background there. All right, so I try to boil it down to three main benefits that can apply to your specific business. Now, obviously, the benefits of being involved in your community and giving back go beyond this. Like for me, there's a lot of personal benefits. The feeling of gratification you get from doing something good cannot be understated in all of this. I think, all of us are looking for something good in this world. And when we give back our time, it is very rewarding. And there is something that you do gain from that is intangible. But for the purpose of this presentation, I wanted to focus on the actual tangibles of it. So expanding your network. Now, this one is huge. Like I said, 40% of my business has come from areas that I've been involved in the community. And the reason I believe this occurs is because when you choose to give your time to a cause, to an organization, you are doing so with other people that share core values with you. They think the same way that you do. They want to give back in the same way that you do. And when they see you doing that, it elevates you in their mind. And so you're expanding your network, but you're doing it with people that are quality people. We can all go out there and add people to our database and have them as part of a drip campaign. But if you are spending time with these people and forging relationships over the years, then that's going to be something that creates a more powerful person, a more powerful advocate for you. So for me, it's something where I realize that use Oktoberfest as an example. So even though I'm currently the president of Oktoberfest, the majority of my Oktoberfest referrals actually come from people that I served on the marketing committee with. Because that marketing committee was, a smaller group of people, 10 to 20 people that we met more regularly. We saw each other a lot and we were able to build that relationship and that trust together. We were all putting in the work and all doing that. And in doing so, it really, you forge that relationship with people. And they see that. And some of my best referrers to this day have come from that committee. And they continue to refer me business. They continue to be an advocate for me. And it's amazing because, we started that relationship as just volunteers together. Because again, when you are doing something, when you're giving so much of your time to something, then you see other people doing that. You want to be with those people because you see them as good people, right? And so expanding your network is huge in that regards. And now the other benefit to that as well is now you're connected with those people, and most people that are giving their time back to their community are doing it in more than one area. And so these people are more likely to share your story, share your business, refer you to people that they're also volunteering with for another organization. And again, now you're connected with more like-minded people that know that you share their core values. And that is something that is huge. And that also, I'm going to speak about it later. It speaks to the importance of what you're choosing to do and where you're choosing to give your time. But that's just a little bit on expanding your network, improving your brand. So today, more than ever, corporate social responsibility is really huge to brands. Last year, I helped out with an organization called Blue Sea, and they run the Coldest Night of the Year walk. Has anyone heard of Coldest Night of the Year? See a few of you, yeah. So it's a walk to raise money for people that are experiencing hurt, hunger, and homelessness. And I helped them out in building their corporate challenge. And in doing so, I really started to understand how businesses were really focused on building up that corporate social responsibility angle. Their largest partner is Starbucks, and they have over 160 stores that participate in Coldest Night in the Year across Canada. And they do that because they understand the value that that brings to them as a company. I think all of us have probably used that example before when we see a Starbucks going up in a neighborhood and we tell our clients, well, that's a good sign, right? Because we know Starbucks does their homework. And that's the same thing when it comes to their corporate social responsibility. They understand the value that that brings to their consumers and people making their choice because they have a lot of competition. They need to differentiate themselves. And we're no different as realtors. We always think about our brand, how we're perceived in the community, and giving back to the community is a powerful way to improve our brand. I'm going to give some examples of how it's helped me from a social media standpoint after this slide, but really it gives you more content if you're looking for content. All of us are struggling for quality content to put out there unless our name is Scott Henderson. So it helps
I
us put
struggle.
that quality content out there. Well, you make the struggle look good. um, and that ties to our brand really closely. And again, it's another reason why we need to be very intentional with what we're choosing to give our time back to and how we give back to our community. And so that brand awareness that we are going to grow is amazing, and we have the power of tapping into other networks when we are volunteering for other organizations, right? And the people that they're able to reach. that gets opened up to us as well. And so we get our brand in more places and we improve that brand. And our clients see us as people that are not only amazing realtors, but amazing people that are giving back to the community that they live in. And that's important to a lot of people. They want to see their community be a better place and they want people in it and they want to advocate for people that are actively trying to do that. And so it is a great way to improve your brand. And again, you just have to make sure that you're choosing the right organization, the right cause that aligns with your brand. And you know your brand better than I do. You're going to be able to choose that better than I will, but it's something to think about. And it's another benefit of giving back to your community in a tangible way that you can see return on. And then finally, increasing touch points. I think all of us are looking for more ways that we can reach out to our database. And this is, again, when we are volunteering for an organization or we are doing a fundraiser, these are perfect opportunities for us to have an actual meaningful touch with our clients. I'll use coldest night of the year as an example. It's a great one because if you start a team for a walk, not only are you now doing a great thing that you're raising money for people in the community that are experiencing hurt, hunger, and homelessness, but you also have the opportunity to recruit clients to be on your team and join your cause and do the walk with you. It gives you an opportunity to do a pre-event where you're meeting up, you're all dressing up, you're, making signs, you are going to give everyone hot chocolate or whatever you want to do to tie into that. But it gives you an opportunity to actually be face to face with your clients. And if they don't want to be a part of your team, you can ask them to donate to your campaign. But again, sometimes we don't always want to be asking people for money. Another great thing is asking people to share your message, sharing that you are doing this, sharing that you are going out there, sharing your ask with their network. And now you've got a great touch point with your clients, and they're sharing something on your behalf to their networks of people that shows you in a really positive light. So you have these touch points that you have with your clients that you can either get face to face with them, or you're asking them to share your message, or you're just showing them, look, I'm doing this great thing in the community. I could use your support. And that to me is super powerful. It's something I've seen with what I've been doing. And yeah, Micah, you could go to that next slide. It will kind of help illustrate this point. So I kind of wanted to show a few tangible examples from my social media now. My social media brand's just still growing and I still have things to learn here. But my posts around community involvement do so much better than my real estate posts for a number of reasons that I'll get into. So on the left there, that is a paid post for my listing. So that is, I just wanted to set kind of context for people. So for one of my listing videos, that's a paid post. You see the reach 34,000, the interactions 152, 102 likes, 12 comments, 7 saves, and 31 shares. Now, so that is with a paid ad to boost the reel. And the one below that is something that I just did for Explore Waterloo Region, helping them promote their Mistletoe Trail. So this one ended up being a collaborative post with Explore Waterloo Region, the Uptown BIA, the Downtown Kitchener BIA, and the Gaslight District. And so got 12,000 views. Now, here's the cool part. 9.9% of them were followers and 90% of them were non-followers. So this got me in front of a ton of people that aren't currently following me. So it exposed me to a whole new demographic of people because of the collaborative nature of that post. And you see, again, interactions. So not only am I in front of those non-followers, they're interacting with the post more than my followers are. And then you see the number of interactions, the number of likes, comments, and shares there. So that really just is a great example of how being involved in the community, giving back to the community, has put me in a position to do something like this. I would never have gotten this opportunity had it not been for my volunteer work with Oktoberfest and everything that I've done there and the time, energy, and effort I put into Oktoberfest and building up that festival. and it gave me the opportunity to do this. And I will tell you that when I was out doing this, so many people were coming up to me like, hey, you're that guy from Instagram from the Mistletoe Trail, right? And it gives me that opportunity to actually connect with them and say, yeah, this, I'm doing this to promote the trail. And oh, by the way, if you ever need to buy or sell your home, right? I'm not doing that with everyone, but if the opportunity comes up, it's given me that opening to have that conversation with people, right? Because people are always curious. Like, oh, I clicked your profile and I saw you do this. Or, hey, like, what is this your job? Right? Like people are asking those questions and it gives me that opportunity to connect with them. Micah, you can go to the next slide. This is one where again, I just wanted to show a comparison. So on the left there is my a recent post I made about my Champions for Charity. Just asking people to give to my campaign on Giving Tuesday. I saw that as a good opportunity to put that message out there. And then on the bottom right is, one of my videos I did around the Bank of Canada rate announcements, one of those announcements, right? So you kind of see the difference in views, and again, the highlight there is because Champions for Charity, they're sharing that through their platform. Other people that are doing it as well, that are boxing with me, are sharing out that post as well, because we're all helping each other out there, because we're all connected. We share that common value. We're trying to raise money for McMaster Children's Hospital, so we're supporting one another. So again, you see that shift in followers versus non-followers, right? Where I at 56% non-followers seeing my boxing post and 32% seeing my Bank of Canada rate announcement, right? And I just find that so powerful to see kind of where you get those views from when you are doing stuff outside of real estate, and now you're bringing them back to your profile, and that's where you have to do the work to make sure that your profile is attractive, that people are going to follow you, that you have good content on there as a realtor that showcases yourself as an expert in your field. So that's an important balance to this, but this is a very effective way of getting you out there in front of people that aren't currently part of your network, and are going to give you that opportunity to convert them to followers, right? And yep, the last one, this I think is just a good example of a blend of both, right? So me using my involvement in Oktoberfest to also highlight me selling a listing during the festival, right? And this one wasn't pushed out there as a paid ad or anything like that, but got a good amount of views for me, and a nice mix of followers versus non-followers. So this is great because it is a real estate related post for me. It's taking what I'm doing in the community and it's blending it with Oktoberfest in a way that is fun and playful, and people really appreciated that. And so now I've gotten in front of a lot of people that are big fans of Oktoberfest. They're resharing that because it's a fun thing that they have going on during the festival. Look how this person's celebrating during the festival. And so I get out there again, over 50% non-followers, and now they're directly seeing something about me doing real estate and selling listings and being a part of the community. So it's a great blend there. And I just really wanted to highlight some of those to show people kind of some tangibles in what I've seen in my business. Now, when it comes to the how, this is something where I thought it would be important to really go through and give people some tangible ways to do it. So the first part is identifying opportunities. And I've mentioned this a few times. The importance of doing something that you genuinely care about is huge. There are so many organizations and causes that need help, that need assistance. You are for sure going to be able to find one that speaks to your heart. And that's important because you're going to want to be able to put time, energy, and effort into it. And, a great place to start if you are struggling, if you're trying to figure out where to get involved, it's another great touch point with your database, with your sphere of influence, reaching out to people that you've seen that are doing events, that are volunteering for organizations, that are doing fundraisers for causes. And in that reaching out, it gives you that touch point. It also gives you some good information about areas that your clients are interested in that could resonate with you. But identifying that opportunity is where you need to start. And you might already be doing something. And it doesn't just have to be an organization or a charity or a fundraiser. This could be in the sports community. You know, you could be sponsoring a team, you could be coaching a team. There are multiple ways to give back, and you just need to find that right one that fits what you specifically are looking for. Because at the end of the day, if you're not putting the time, energy, and effort in, you're not going to see those rewards. And it is something that will take time. You're not going to see kind of immediate impact or benefit of it. It is something that it's an investment. I put in, like I said, 17, 18 years with Oktoberfest, right? And over those years, probably by year 3 or 4, I started to see referrals from people that I was volunteering with, right? And so as you go through this, you're building, right? You're building your client, you're building that database, you're building that sphere of influence, and you're building that trust. But you're creating quality over quantity by doing so. So it's the same thing. You're not trying to identify 10 opportunities that you're going to get involved with all of them all at once, right? You want to be able to dedicate yourself to it. So start with one that you know you can give your time, energy, and effort to, and then if that goes well, you can think about adding, but it's going to be based on what you have the time for. All right, the next is add to your business plan. Now, this is key. This is something, I've had conversations with Greg about this, and he does this really well. He identifies all the places that he's going to be giving his time or money to a year in advance, basically. And he's got it all mapped out in terms of who's getting what, when he's going to be there, when he's going to be present to it. And that's the same thing you have to do. You have to be very intentional about this. So, as I said, intentional about who you're selecting to spend that time, energy, and effort on, but then how you're going to do it. It's got to be intentional. It's got to be a part of your business plan. You can't just do it on the side or forget or have it as an afterthought. You have to actively be there. If you are sponsoring teams, it's not just writing a check. You want to show up. You want to be there. You want to support. If it's a children's team, you want the parents to see you out there. You want them to know who you are and connect a personality to that face or to that logo, right? If you are coaching, interacting with parents, letting them know what you're doing, right? That's important as well. If you are doing a fundraiser, knowing the timing of that fundraiser so that you're building it in, knowing when you're going to be able to send messages out, to be doing that. What are you willing to contribute from your own business in terms of money towards it? And then if you're volunteering for an organization, understanding, are you volunteering for an event, or are you just being part of a committee that's going to be year round? If so, when's the event? When's the main time you have to give up for that event? How can you build around that event? Is there anything that you can do with your regular business in terms of your SOI, your touch points that are going to integrate with that event? So again, I'll use coldest night of the year as an example. If you know you're going to do that walk in February, and you're going to use kind of the holiday season and as the kickoff, and then January and February as your main fundraisers, what's going to be some of the things you're going to do, right? How are you connecting with your clients? What are those touch points going to be? How is this part of your business plan? So it has to be intentional. It has to be baked right in, or it's not going to be as effective as it could be. It still will be effective, but everything's more effective with a plan. And so that's why it's important to add it to your business plan. And then along with that, adding it to your marketing plan. I just showed you the posts that I've made and how they've impacted my social media and my business. And like I said, with your touch points as well, this is all part of that. If you know you're doing this event and it's a great thing, you're painting yourself in this great light, and you really truly believe in this cause, you want to raise money for this cause, or you want to help this organization, then your clients should know about it. And people that are following you should know about it, because it's a big part of your business. It's a big part of your brand. It's a big part of who you are. And that is one thing that I think took me a long time to really realize and start to do effectively was, hey, I'm doing a lot in the community. How can I leverage this to help my business? Because I never thought of it that way. I always thought of it as, I just like to give back to my community. This is what I do. I love it. This is why I do it. I've never really did it for business. But and sitting down with Scotty and Micah, and they're like, you do all of this stuff for the community. How is that impacting your business, or how are you using it to help improve your business? And that's what really made the light go on for me. And take a look at, okay, yes, I do all this stuff. Has it impacted my business? And yes, it has. 40% of my business has come from my volunteering and my community work. But now it's okay, if I'm doing all of that, how can I use it to help me as a realtor to do more business, and then in turn give back more to the community? Scott really helped crystallize it for me when he said, if you did more business, you would have more opportunity to give back money to the community. And I was like, yep, you are 100% right. And so that really made it click for me. And that's another great way that you could do things, right? I mentioned I volunteer for the Community Foundation. And so for some people, time is an issue, but the Community Foundation allows you to start a fund where they can direct it to areas in the community that you choose. And so for people that want to give back but might have a time crunch, that's another potential thing that you can do, is starting a fund with the Community Foundation. And now you're letting all your clients know that X amount from every deal you do or every referral they give is going to this fund that helps out these people, right? There are so many different options when we go back to that identifying the opportunities, and in doing the identification of the opportunities, figuring out how it's going to flow into your business plan and your marketing plan is also key. And again, it's looking at timing for the year, times when people are going to be inundated with stuff, and from beyond that. So for me, I know for Champions for Charity, I'll have a few more posts, but really my big asks will come in the new year, after people have kind of figured out their holiday spending and everything like that, and it's coming back to the new year with a big push, right? And that's just understanding cycles of where people are spending their money, and when people are actually paying attention to things too, right? Because everyone gets wrapped up in the holidays. So being aware of things like that when you're doing your marketing plan, and when you're going to make your big pushes, and when you're going to do asks, when you're going to ask people to share out your messages, that all of that has to be taken into consideration. And the last one I put on there just for Scotty, maximum effort. It doesn't make sense to do this half-assed. And that's why I said it's really important to identify the opportunity. You have to care about it, because it does take time, energy, and effort. And people see that. People see if you're just phoning it in. People see if you're just showing up because you're trying to get an extra deal or two, right? They see through people, especially people that are genuinely giving their time, energy, and effort to these organizations, to these causes. And so that's why it is so important to put in maximum effort to everything that you're doing, and being really selective with it. You got to choose wisely, and you got to choose something that is going to bring you some joy, and you are going to feel really good about giving back to that organization, to that cause, to that team, right? That part of that has to be giving you joy, right? And that's true for me, and all the things I do, they bring me joy. I love seeing the community, experience Oktoberfest, and have that fun during the festival, or seeing the organizations that benefit from the grants from the Community Foundation, right? Or seeing the kids at camp for Easter seals, for Dancing with Stars, or hearing all the stories already about everyone that has had to bring their children to McMaster Children's Hospital, right? These things actually make me happy when I hear the tangible difference that these organizations are making in people's lives. And so that brings me joy, and it allows me to give more of myself to that. And so people have noticed that. People see that, and that's what's opened up doors for me to continue these opportunities, right? To move up to become president of Oktoberfest, or to have the opportunities to work with Explore Waterloo Region and the BIAs, and get that kind of exposure, because people have seen I've put in the time, energy, and effort, and that I care. And so that is a huge part of it that you have to take into account when you're doing it. So I tried to make it as simple as possible there, to kind of break down just my experience, how it's impacted me, where I'm continuing to go with it now that I see the power of it, and how it can benefit my business, and applying that to it, but really it's about continuing to make our community a better place, because in my heart as realtors, that's what I think we should be doing. We should be experts on our communities, and we should care deeply about our communities. And think that resonates well with our clients. People love a realtor that loves their community, that knows the community, and wants to make it a better place. So I wanted to leave some time for questions for people, because I know there might be a few questions or comments, or just hearing about other success stories that people have had in what they do or how they work with their community that they want to share. Because again, that's what the collective is all about. It's about sharing what's making us successful, what we're all bringing to the table. So again, just wanted to open up the floor for questions or things that people have done that they've found successful.
Have you ever had to say no to a committee you really wanted to join because you didn't have the extra time?
That is my problem. Uh, I'm bad at saying no, but yes, actually, I was asked to do a different boxing event, but the training would have been during Oktoberfest. And so that was the most recent one that I've had to say no to. And I still was able to find a way where I attended the event and supported in that way. But I have to be realistic with my time and knowing that I want it because I want to give that maximum effort. And that was the answer I gave him. I said, look, sounds like a great event. I would love to do it, but I can't commit to that because the training is during Oktoberfest and I won't be able to give it my all. And therefore, I'm not willing to do it.
Yeah. So I organized a golf tournament. My mom helped start Cancer Patient Services in Mount Forest, and she's been gone 7 years now, but I wanted to help. I was always involved with the tournament growing up, whether that's like helping set up, taking pictures of golf teams, whatever. So that was really important for me to join. And this past summer was my first year fully taking over, organizing it. And we had over 160 golfers and
Amazing.
over 100 sponsors. And I ended up getting 3 referrals, like people directly coming up to me who only one of them I had briefly talked to before, and they were from all over. One was from Listowel, one was from Shelburne, and one was local. But I mean, that's not why I'm doing it, but for them to just see and ask questions about who you are and what you do, it makes a huge difference.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that, because that's a great example, right? It's something that's near and dear to your heart. It's something that you care deeply about. And, it shows that people recognize that, right? They saw that you were doing this for the right reasons and they wanted to know more. And I'm glad it turned into some business, but it's something that will continue to help and happen for you, right? If you keep putting in that time and energy to it.
Yeah, and one other thing I wanted to touch on, a lot of my marketing budget goes towards sports and local events and like community skates. And one opportunity, I don't know if anyone else coaches any kids teams, but one massive opportunity I saw this year, I helped coach my one daughter's team, and there's a need for people to pay for tournaments. So they will enter 2 to 3 tournaments a year, and it does add up for parents pretty quickly. So what I've done for next winter is allocated $2,000 of my marketing, and I'm gonna pay for each kid's hockey tournament for the whole team. So you're directly recognized that way with all those parents, and that's something that I notice is huge, and they're going to be so thankful and tell all the other hockey parents, oh, Rachel actually paid for the whole team's hockey tournament. So that's one thing I really noticed this year could make a huge impact. So if you guys coach, that's a good idea, I think.
That's an awesome idea, and that's huge. And it's great. It's something that you built right into your plan, and you see the value there. It's going to make you happy that the kids get to play hockey, right? And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
obviously the parents are like, you're a superhero to them. So that's amazing. Any other questions, comments, people's success stories.
Rachel's a superhero in general, so that's
That helps.
suited.
Yeah, I think
Not
I-
really.
I think what makes, well, both of you unique after hearing Rachel's story, and I think what makes it so great is, to be honest, Alan, like, I feel like if you got zero business from doing this, you'd still do it just because you're such a great human. But have you noticed that now that you're doing other stuff, people seem to rally even more around you with your other stuff, like real estate related stuff, because they know of all the good things you do? Like, do you think that's more like a bigger proportion? Like when you tell someone you're in real estate, they're like, "Oh, you do real estate? Okay, and I want to help you." Like, have you noticed that or no?
Yeah, 100%. I think when people see that you're willing to put all that energy and effort into the community and they find out what you do for a living, they want to find a way to help you, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily come back right away. Like I said, it's all about putting in that investment, and over time I know I'll see it come back. But yeah, I'm seeing it in just different connections that I've made, and them making that connection of, oh yeah, my son and daughter are going to be looking for a house, so I will send them your information, that type of thing. When I'm talking to people at events, and that's why I go to a lot of events. Is I love the events themselves, but they also give me an opportunity to connect with people. So beyond Oktoberfest and the events that I'm involved with from an organizing standpoint, I spent the summer going to as many community festivals as I could, to get to know the organizers of those festivals. I got roped into helping out with a couple like Caravana, but it just again gives me more people that I'm connecting with, and more people that are coming up and talking to me, because I'm a big people person. I love talking to people, and like I use that strength to my advantage in starting to tell them about what I do for a living as well.
If you haven't been to an event with Alan, you may as well go solo because everyone knows who he is. Where did we go? I think it was after Blues Fest, and we went downtown for like I think one of the big shows. And walking through crowds with Alan is like walking through with like any celebrity. It's actually super impressive how you've carved your niche and in our community. It was impressive to watch. I already knew it because I've known Alan since we were in high school, but maybe forgot about it as I was walking through this crowd. So it doesn't go unnoticed. Our community definitely appreciates and recognizes it. So I do have a question for you though.
Mhm.
If I wanted to get started, like you talk a lot about, really sorry if you can hear my bulldog snoring, but you talk a lot about, really finding your passion and finding your niche with regards to what event, and people being able to see through it. Do you think that there's anything wrong with like getting involved over the holiday season, whether it be, Christmas, whether it be Easter, like, you know, i- i- is there certain is there certain events that you might advise as for teams? Like if the real estate collective, for example, wanted to do something collectively, is there something that you might suggest for larger groups as opposed to like getting involved from a year, like a year
Yeah,
long perspective?
yeah, I think the fundraiser events are the way to go there. You don't need to make a financial outlay for it,
Right.
but it gives you opportunities for touch points. So there's multiple that happen here. So I already mentioned coldest night of the year. And I think that's a fantastic one. It fits what we do as realtors, because it's helping people in our region. It's going towards Ray of Hope, and it's going towards Waterloo Housing. So two different organizations are specifically helping people that are experiencing homelessness. And so that one allows you to walk in the event as a team. And, you put your team in, you can have all your clients as part of your team, or they can donate to your team. It gives you a constant messaging that you can share out. They have it built up pretty well where they've got a lot of the facts and the information that you can repost and share, and they give you the tools for that. And that one's in the winter. One thing I learned when I was working for them and talking with the different organizations that are part of it, like Starbucks or Panago Pizza, a lot of the major banks, what they tend to do with their CSR is they divide it into quarters. And so then each quarter they have something, a cause that they are going to be supporting. So then that is their focus for that entire quarter. It gives them the time to build it up, to plan how they're going to execute, because it's so important to them. They want to make sure that it's got its own spotlight. So you have the opportunity to maybe do the year for like one each half of the year, right? Like we're not big corporations that can maybe pull something off quarterly, but we can do one a year or maybe two a year. And there's a lot of different fundraisers like that. Terry Fox run, CIBC Run for the Cure, right? There's a lot of different ones. So it's finding the one that resonates with you, that fits with you. But I would say that's a good place to start for teams or for someone that's looking for low barrier entry, where you're just being a part of that fundraiser and you're letting people know that this is what you're doing every year, and that can build over time as well, right? So I would say that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
And I see a couple in the chat. Habitat for Humanity would be good as well, doing a build. There's the food bank, they do sort days, right, where you could go in and do sorting as a team. There's a lot of different opportunities there, and that's fun content too, doing the sort stuff. But the coldest night would be a good one if you're looking for an immediate opportunity, because that's coming up in February and it's the perfect time to start doing that. But
Right.
there's a lot of other walks or runs that are similar.
I think we haven't done one collectively, whether it's for content or not. I just think that we all do them for ourselves and potentially for business, but it's potentially something that we might want to look into as a real estate collective.
Micah, I don't know if you have any trees outside your office because I've never been there, but if you could collaborate with a business that like a mortgage broker or lawyer that maybe has a tree or two outside their office. We did a Christmas tree lighting the last couple of years with the Mount Forest BIA. And this year we had someone dress up as Santa and the Grinch and do photos. And we literally just gave out hot chocolate and candy canes, and we got a huge response. And people were all over Facebook and Instagram thanking the BIA for everything. And yeah, it was super cool. It was super cheap. And I mean, you felt great. Like you saw all the kids crying and laughing with Santa and the Grinch, and the families were loving it. So that's something that you could do super easily in the wintertime.
That's
Invite
cool.
all your clients. So
That's a cool idea. I could certainly pull off the Grinch, so that wouldn't
Scotty and Alan could dress up for sure.
oh, for
Al-
sure.
I have a
Alan
Santa costume and an elf costume, so
Oh, perfect.
and a Grinch costume.
and a Grinch costume. Yeah.
You've got more costumes than anybody.
Why
I was
It
gonna
not?
say-
sounded like Greg had a question.
Yeah, just some other opportunities. Yeah, like St. John's, like this volunteering as a team at the soup kitchen's also like a really good one this time of year too. I mean, the soup kitchen's being rebuilt right now. That's a really good opportunity as a realtor to get involved with them as that project goes up right now too. It's a massive prevalent issue, homelessness. So I agree with Alan. Like I've done close night of the year a bunch of times when I was younger, and yeah, it's really good. And I mean, the good thing about that also is that it's in multiple communities. Like I just looked in everyone's community, and everybody in here has one close to them. So that's also something that we could do it as a collective, but also you could do it within the community, because then you'll get better response, their clients, their friends, right? Stuff too. But yeah, I'm as far as like the progression as Alan was kind of talking about his experience of like going through the Oktoberfest. So I started my own charity in 2018. So after my first full year in real estate, I started a charity for anyone with special needs. I didn't want to define it as developmental disabilities because that's like the field that I had worked in mostly as a social worker. So because we wanted to be able to like have some flexibility with that of who we give money to over long term and all those things. And then that I was trying to think ahead of like how to grow that network bigger, right? Like Alan's talking about, you want to cross whatever organization you go to, you want to cross and figure out who else is involved in what else, right? And so if you don't have a passion or if you don't have something that ties it like Rachel's, or like that you weren't a social worker for 15 years. So like go to something, because like that something will lead you to the something else, right? And so that progression of we had our own charity for 5 years. Now I sit on the board for Elmira Community Living. They just did 2 massive commercial deals, and like everyone's sitting there looking at me like, you're gonna get involved, right? Like, and for me to like be able to do that, and like there's they were like, we need to pay. I'm like, you're not paying, that's not happening, like that will never happen. Like the what has come out of like going through that process, formed a really good relationship with John Weir now from McCarter Grasspan. He's one of the partners there. He's on the board too. So him and I really worked a lot through those commercial deals, just giving advice back to the board, like, hey, this is what we would do if it was our money, but it's not our money. So got to take and use kind of my whole resume within trying, and like I'm sitting on the board volunteering, right? So like this isn't a paid position or anything. So when that progression of like kind of where you start and putting yourself in the community can grow to a very, very, very big thing. Milltown also did, this is actually a big, the Elmira Maple Syrup Festival is a huge supporter of like community living and a lot of different services within Woolwich. So we went up as a team and we served pancakes and cooked everything for 3 hours or 2 hours. We did a 2 hour shift and there was 8 of us all branded up, and it was like, yeah. So like stuff like that is just when you're doing it double-edged sword, I think is the best way when you're going to do it as multiples. When it's something fun and also you can be giving back at the same time. So that's it.
Good.
100%. And that's, I'm glad you brought up that point, because it's one I forgot to make in that progression, right? Like in putting in that time. Like we're gonna have the mayors speak at the development day. And a big part of that is because Scott and I were involved in Oktoberfest and we have that direct connection with them. Like I was literally able to ask them face to face and say, hey, we're doing this event. We would love for you to speak at it. And, they're more than willing to do it because they see the time and energy we put into events that help their community. Right. And they understand that reciprocal value of it. And they want to speak to all of the realtors and make them better at their jobs, make us better at our jobs. But like that opportunity came from our involvement in a community event, right? And so you never know what connections you're going to make. And as you progress and as you get to that board level, then there are generally a lot of people on boards that are running big companies, that are owning their own companies. Like that's generally what you see at board levels for some of these bigger organizations, and those are the people you'll start to connect with, right? So that's what I'm noticing now. My network is shifting in terms of who is a part of things, especially Dancing with the Stars, and this boxing one I'm doing now. The type of people that are doing that are the heads of big companies, right? It's Drew Walden from Nedlaw, it's John Deans from SG Cunningham, right? It's people that own construction companies or that are doing big things in the community. And so now these are people that I've become much closer with, right? Like I see John Deans all the time, and he's like a friend now. We like make sure we say hi, we chat, and it's awesome, right? And that's because I know that he cares about the community. He's doing all this stuff, and I like that. I like seeing that, and he sees the same thing in me, right? And we see that in all the people that we started to meet through doing this, right? But it's something I've certainly noticed. All right, we got about 5 minutes. Any other questions, comments?
Well, I was just gonna say sometimes just attending the events as an attendee on a regular, consistent basis is probably, can be just as valuable. So I attend the hospital gala every year. I'm not involved in any of the planning or organization of that, but every year we attend. And I had somebody, there's always a live auction, and somebody who runs that live auction then referred me to a client because they just said she gives back every single year to this hospital foundation. And I only give back by attending, right? And I buy something, obviously. But you never know, even just from attending the events, where you might start to become recognized as a community give back, participant. And people, especially in our smaller communities, they really have a high value for that, right? So if they can support us with their real estate business, they know we support the community, and it becomes this beautiful cycle. And I think you don't necessarily have to be involved in the events, but just attend if you can, and keep it on a regular basis. You can't attend everything, but for me, that hospital fundraiser every year falls on my birthday weekend. Every year we make it happen, just period. So it's a fun one.
And that's an excellent point, and I've certainly seen it in starting to attend, like I said, all the festivals in the summer, but also attending more fundraisers. And I would say those fundraising events, if you're looking for an event to plan to attend, it's those, because the network of people that tends to be at those is different. It tends to be if from a strictly business standpoint, a higher value client.
Yeah.
And so it's something that's worth the money to attend those events. They are going to be more expensive, but again, they're planned in advance. You know the dates that they're going to be. You can build it into your business plan, right? You can build that into your budget for the year of, these are the fundraising events that I'm going to be attending this year, and commit to it. Like Jen said, you got to show up on a regular basis, but I certainly noticed in attending several fundraising events this year that saw a lot of the same faces, right? And that's how you get noticed by them and start to have those conversations, and they see what you're doing and what you believe in, and then that has them willing to give you a referral.
Yeah, it was a $1.2 million referral. So
Wow.
There you go.
everyone's happy
And
with
you
that.
spent what, like, for like a $300 to $400 ticket, right?
Oh, not even. And then you get a
Okay,
tax
there you
receipt
go.
for that stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can I think at charity events for sure, if you can consistently attend, huge return on value there. And yes, like Allan said, typically at those events, the clientele is a little bit different, higher net worth,
You
people that
definitely, you can
you want to know.
You can definitely get a lot of exposure when you participate in the live auctions.
Yeah, we try and buy a trip every live auction, because then it forces me to
Wow.
also go away.
Perfect.
All right.
So many more questions or comments? We got like a minute.
That was awesome. A couple updates maybe for next year. Obviously, this was our last real estate collective mastermind of 2024. We have some really cool stuff coming up in 2025. We're gonna kick off the year with Mr. Johnson, which is the Laurier basketball coach. So kick off the season, kick off the year right before our real estate collective development day. So if you haven't got your tickets for development day, VIP event is going to be at Lala on the 21st, with our second annual on the 22nd at Whistle Bear. So get your tickets for that. Really looking forward to the next one. But Allan, thanks so much for joining us today and presenting all things giving back. Appreciate you guys attending. Have a wonderful holiday in the spirit of giving. Get out there and, as Allan does, give back to the community. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.